Good morning, CLC. We rearranged the stage a little bit, so I just bounced off Jesse's stand there. Well, I hope that y'all had a fantastic Independence Day, and you didn't get too much sun, or you got just enough sun. And if you had fireworks, you enjoyed the heck out of them. My neighborhood apparently had a blast last night, and there was a lunar eclipse, but apparently it was a very faint shadow over the moon. So I'm hoping that some of my friends with really good cameras caught it, because I looked for it and didn't see it. But that's the way it is, all right? I guess I really didn't know what I was looking for, so I didn't find it. So it helps to know what you're looking for when you're out looking for things. There may be a spiritual lesson in there. But I'm going to invite you into the sacred space of this morning. It is Sunday morning. So come in, take a nice deep breath, relax, enjoy the smell of your coffee, and know that you are warm and safe where you are. And I'm going to invite you into the inner healing. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one and all is well. As we begin the inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself up to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your right hand, and let my words act as your own, for your own inner acceptance and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging the higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of the infinite presence, I simply speak these words, I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, now I say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effect of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only constructive, positive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon the divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one special idea that I am willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing the idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words, I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude, and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me, family member, friend, mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who is not physically present in the room this morning, and I turn to that image in mind and say, I am grateful for the good in your life. Now, I open my eyes to the world around me and turn joyfully to the person next to me and share my gratitude and confidence by saying, I am grateful for the good in your life. We are grateful for the good in your life virtually.
Melanie and Kenzie Berryman, Jeffrey Oshman. Did we get him on camera?
Yes, we had him on camera the whole time.
We get complaints when he's not on camera. Where's Jeffrey? They all want to know. Good morning, Creative Life, coming to you from Spring, Texas. I am Jesse Jennings, and I want to thank Reverend Arthur Johnson, who was our speaker last week. Wasn't he fantastic? He always is. Just love that man. You'll be hearing more from him on this stage really soon. But for now, you've got me, and for the next few weeks, there's a little booklet called A Holmes Reader on Meaning. There's a link in our weekly emails to the Science Mind archives where you can purchase this. And it's got a selection in it of amazing little affirmations and writings, bits of Ernest Holmes out of Science Mind magazine in the 1930s and 40s, stuff that's not published anywhere else, as well as some stuff that is. So what I want to talk about today, because it is the 4th of July weekend, is declaring our interdependence. We start out dependent. Humans have one of the longest periods of dependence after birth of any species on the planet, where we can help us for a very, very long time. Of course, we have a fairly long lifespan as beings go in the world under natural causes. And once we give up our dependence, we become independent. I remember when I was in high school, I went to a Catholic high school, and we had a priest tell us when we were seniors, a group of us, 20 or so of us in one particular class. He said, I know why you guys are, it was boys' high school, he said, I know why you guys are acting out and why you're causing all this trouble in class. He said, I bet you're causing trouble at home too. He says, it's, you know, you're about to graduate. You're about to go on to the next chapter in your life. Kenzie, have you been causing trouble? And he said, you're scared to death. You're terrified, but you can't let anyone know it. So you have to be all macho and surly, mope around, but inside, you're really, really scared. That may have been my first lesson in spiritual psychology. It was close to it. But we look for independence at a certain stage of the game. We get into our preteen and teen years, and that's when the parents that used to know everything now know nothing. And then we come back 10 years later and they've learned it all back somehow. But no, we are now independent, and we prize ourselves on independence. But you know what? If you stay in that place of independence, you have what winds up being an extended adolescence. Independence is overrated. You need interdependence. And that's the next stage of spiritual growth after independence. After standing on your own 2 feet, you realize you got to lean on something. And you got people leaning on you. And all of you together leaning on one another would fall in the heap, but for the fact that you lean on a higher power. You lean on something that's greater than the physical, greater than the material, greater than the temporal and the spatial. And so we're all in this together. You've heard that over the last, you know, it's been 17 weeks. 17 weeks that we've been broadcasting from this stage in the way that we're doing now. And we've talked about, and you've seen this in all your news feeds and everything, that we're all in this together, and we're all one human family, and that's absolutely true. The part that goes beyond that is that we're all in spirit. We're all contained within an intelligence and a love and a purpose that's greater than we are and greater than any use we could possibly make of it, all at the same time. It never crashes, it never goes on the blink. I was working online real late the other night. Some of you know I keep strange hours, and I was up about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was actually working for you, Creative Life. I was working for you. I was not just idly surfing the internet. I was creating the weekly email that you get. And I want you to know how complicated that is to create that email, because you have to create it in all these little frames, and all the links have to be just so, and they go away and all of that. And I was working on it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was taking forever. And I would finish one frame, and you have to save each frame independently, and it wouldn't want to save, and I'd have to sit there, and I started to get sleepy. And finally I just gave up. And I came back at it the next morning when all of a sudden, boom, it was moving along. And I realized that what happens is that the server, the website that we use to host that, limits their bandwidth overnight. Lots of people are doing that because there's so much traffic. So I learned an important lesson there. Just don't work on stuff for you at 3 o'clock in the morning online, because it's going to take forever. I bring this up because Spirit never limits its bandwidth. It's never like overburdened, overtaxed. It can handle all of this. You and I are having difficulty. I'm reading in the paper how this time last year, 41% of Americans said they were reasonably happy. Today, 14% say they're reasonably happy. That's a massive decline. Why are people unhappy? I don't have to tell you. There is a whole set of things. A whole set of things. And besides the things that you know, the pandemic, overcoming racism, the things that you know, there's fear of the future generally. Free-floating anxiety about what could go wrong next. That's why we need a power that's greater than we are, that is never overburdened by whatever problems we bring it. And this power will respond to us by corresponding. So this weekend, we're celebrating the 4th of July. We're celebrating our nation. You heard a beautiful song. You're going to hear another stirring anthem about our country coming up, a Woody Guthrie tune. And so some people were asked in other countries on this news feed I get to say what they think is right about America, or things that they admire about America, or things that they envy about America that they wish they had in their own countries. And usually this same feed, they ask different questions. They ask questions like, what kind of food do you think Americans eat that's gross? Or what are some crazy American customs you don't understand? But this one was really serious, and it was about, what do you admire about this? And they didn't identify who was from what country responding. They just had a list. And so it started out like this. What people admire about America is you get free refills on soft drinks at fast food restaurants, which apparently you don't get in a lot of other places. They admire right turn on red. They admire entrepreneurship. They admire ingenuity, our discoveries, our inventions. They admire our friendliness. That people will strike up conversations with absolute strangers standing in lines or in queues, as Brother Dewhurst would say. You turn to somebody and you just, so what do you think about all of this? Apparently this is not so everywhere. They admire our diversity. And most of all, they admire something that was brought up here just now when you were singing American Beautiful and you sang that second verse. God mend thine every flaw. In a patriotic tune, you have a line like that, you admit a flaw. But it's our country. How can it have a flaw? They admire that right there. Critical reflection, intensive self-honesty, that we're constantly working to try to figure it out, to try to get it right. And we shoot ourselves in the foot and we go limping off and we come back to try to get it right. And several people in this article said that their country, again not named, they felt their homeland had given up. And it is what it is. And we have our institutions and we have our traditions and we just do what we do. But in America, we've not given up. Now, if you're a sociologist, you can take that apart and say, well, we're a really young country, only 200 years and change and so forth. But let's go with that, that we're constantly working on ourselves. I bring this up because this is spiritual practice, is constantly working on yourself. And I don't mean in an obsessive way, in a self-shaming kind of way. I mean just every day you could be better. Every day you could do more. You could be kinder. You could be just a more superior human being over the person you were yesterday. We grow in self-awareness constantly. That's our journey. Every hero's quest, heroes were mentioned in that song too. Every hero's quest is into greater self-discovery. It's into greater self-exploration. This is the work that we're doing. So, I wanted to mention also that I'm aware that some of you who are watching this aren't really clear who we are. You kind of happen into it, and you've said some really kind things, according to Lisa on our Facebook page, but you might not really know what this place is. We're in a suburb of Houston, Texas, and so on, and we've been here a while, and we're going to be here forever, and eventually we're going to have people in the seats, but we're going to keep broadcasting the way we do. But I wanted to tell you that this is religious science, because last week, when Reverend Arthur spoke, and I got up at the end and I was talking about wearing a mask, which, by the way, mine's on the piano, but I said religious scientists wear masks. And I remembered that early in his talk he said, now if you're eating pancakes, if you're going to have pancakes, make the pancakes now before we get really going into this. He says, don't leave the room while I'm speaking to go make the pancakes. I hadn't thought to say that in previous 16 weeks, but it's good advice, But I got up and I talked about, gave a little announcement. I said, we're religious scientists wear masks. And I realized when I said that some people were probably putting down their fork full of pancakes going, wait, what? What is a religious scientist? This is who we are. We're a Center for Spiritual Living, which is a fine name, but it doesn't really tell you much, because every church and temple and mosque and synagogue and society is a center for spiritual living, really. We teach here religious science, also known as the science of mind. And the science of mind is very simply explained this way by the person who founded it, by the name of Ernest Holmes, who in this little book writes, the life which we live is the universal life expressing through us, else how could we live? Our thought and emotion is the use we make, consciously or unconsciously, of this original creative thing that is the cause of everything. Therefore, we shall say that the mind, spirit, and intelligence we find in ourselves is as much of this original creative God as we understand. There you have it. There you have it. Thought and emotion is the use we make consciously or unconsciously. We teach prayer in this place. We teach spiritual practice in this place. We teach meditation. Most of all, we teach the ubiquity of spirit, that the creative power that made everything resides within everything, but is not absorbed by anything. It is everywhere present, and every being is an expression of it. Everything that lives, everything that flies or crawls or swims or has life is an expression of it. Every inanimate object is an expression of it at the level of being an inanimate object. All there is, in other words, all there is this source energy, which many call God, but any name limits it. And often here we won't call it God. I mean, we're not like forbidden to, but it's because it gives people the creeps sometimes because they picture the old white guy in the sky who's sending thunderbolts down. So we'll call it source or spirit or something like this. But it's the essence of everything that is. And wait, it gets better. It's not only everything that is, it's everything that could be. Everything in form and everything in potential. So when we're doing the deep work and we're seeking to draw more into expression, we're going into the realm of potential. When we as Americans are trying to figure stuff out and get it right, we're going into the realm of potential. We work in the level of ideals. We're real big on ideals in a teaching like this. You might say, well, today's not the greatest day. Some bad things happen in the world or in my life. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I was, but I'm not where I want to be. But I have an ideal. I have an ideal. There's a place I can go. So, in conclusion, Reverend Arthur gave us an acronym, ONE, last week. Watch the video. Watch it if you haven't seen it. It's still on Facebook Live. It's also up on YouTube. I have for us an acronym. I've decided I'm going to follow his lead for this month anyway and come up with some acronyms for you. This acronym is, I have to read it here. I just came up with it this morning. I've been wanting an acronym, and these things sometimes wait till the last minute to come to me. I don't know why, but they just do. I guess so they're fresh. You don't want a stale acronym. You don't want an acronym sat out on the counter all night, right? So you want it fresh out of the oven. The acronym is B.A.S.I.C. B-A.S.I.C. Basic. First of all, believe in belief. In this teaching, we believe in belief. We don't tell people what to believe. We show them how to believe. Whatever you believe, you tend to magnetize towards yourself, or you tend to magnetize yourself toward it. So first, believe in belief. Believe that belief has a power. It's not just random thoughts going through your mind. Your inner work has agency. It has, what's the word? Purchase. It gets traction going, right? See? So believe in belief. Second, acknowledge any difficulty, any problem, any challenge. I like to call them problems because problems have answers. Challenges, like what do you do? It's an unchallenge or something when it's done. But the problem you solve, right? In fact, in certain cases, you can go to the back of the book and find the answer. But you acknowledge the problem, you acknowledge the difficulty within yourself. What could be improved in my life or in the world's life? What's lacking here? What would make my life complete? This is a wonderful day. What would make it even better? You acknowledge that. That's the A. The S is seek a solution. First, using your intellect. Because you're a sharp individual. If there's a problem, think about it. Like everybody else does. But think about it with a sense that you have within you the answer. That's why the problem came to you. Wait, what? No. It's because you have the answer. The problem showed up in search of an answer, and it showed up on your plate. It showed up in your life, seeking this answer. So seek the solution in the way that you do by thinking about it. But don't stop there. Go on to the I, which is to immerse yourself this one's a little longer. Immerse yourself in the energy of the place where such a problem as you have could not be possible. There is a place where such a problem could simply not be possible. Here's an example. It's not the greatest one, but it just came to me. So here's an example. You know, on the Hardy Toll Road, you ever take the Hardy Toll Road? Most of you out of town there. The Hardy Toll Road is it's a freeway. It's a tollway that runs between up here and center of Houston. And some ways down on the east side of it is this massive lot of cars where trains drop them off, trucks drop them off, and then the cars from there are gotten to car dealers. So you drive by there and there's just this sea, and I haven't noticed it lately, so I don't know what it's doing. But as a rule, there's just this sea of cars. Now imagine standing in that sea of cars and saying, I don't have a car, I can't find a car. Who has a car? They're all around you, right? Now, a car costs money, so maybe let's have a different example. It costs nothing at all. There's no air. There's no water, you say, as you step into the ocean. It's all around us. It's all around. So immerse yourself in a place where such a thing is not possible. Hate is not possible when you immerse yourself in love. Lack is not possible when you immerse yourself in plenty. And these things exist as divine ideals within the mind of the one. Do that a lot. Stay in that I step a whole lot, the I am step. Stay in that place a whole lot. That's your regular spiritual practice. Go to the place where nothing's been ever wrong, couldn't be wrong, not possible, right at the heart of the one. And then the C, to wrap it all up, is to come back to your life, to come back to where you were and see the problem with new eyes. What would happen if I thought as spirit thought? What would happen if I thought as the source thinks? What would happen? How will I find out? I'll try it. I'll try thinking. Here's a radical idea. I'll try thinking like God thinks. Like spirit, like source, like the one, the I am. Think like it thinks. How does it think? It thinks from infinity into specificity. I will think of it that way. I will think of it that way. So basic. To review, believe and believe. Acknowledge the problem, difficulty, challenge, lack, room for improvement, whatever you want to call it. Seek a solution, that's the S. Seek an outcome. Seek advice if you want. Seek consensus. Immerse yourself as the I. Immerse yourself in the place where nothing has ever been wrong. And finally come back to the world. So we're going to close now with a technique that we use, a process that we use of prayer. Some say, well, it isn't really prayer. You be the judge. But it is an affirmation. It is a knowing. It is a deep inner knowing. And as we do that, I want to let you know that in the room this morning, besides Kenzie and Mel, Reverend Lisa Ryan on computer and Jeffrey Oshman at the piano, we have Lisa's beloved practitioner, Thomas Ryan, and he's here. And we're delighted to have you here. But I also need you to know something else, and that is the reason that Thomas is here today is that Danielle Mercadale is not, because Danielle lost her father on Friday. And so I want you to join me. 17 weeks she sat in that chair. She's here every week doing this, and now she's at the family home, and they're preparing to release her father, Lynn Johnson, into his next experience. So I want you to join me now as we know together there is one life, one power, one presence. This one has no beginning, it has no end. It creates all things out of itself. It receives all things into itself. I affirm and know about Danielle and her sons and her whole family and everybody who loved Glenn, that there's a power of comfort and support and encouragement holding them up right now, bolstering them up to walk through this time of letting go. And as I know this about this family, I know it about your family and all families, all change, all loss, and all uncertainty that might surround you, and if it doesn't, it might surround someone you love or someone even you've heard about but you don't know, but it hurts your heart to hear. There is a power, there is one power, the only power. And it's right where you are and it's right where I am. And it's doing that which needs to be done through us now. We don't know how exactly, but we feel it. We're grateful for it. We know that with each passing moment, greater clarity is coming to us, greater strength of purpose, greater compassion, greater conviction. As we have this knowing about ourselves and our loved ones, we extend it out to the world at large, that there are answers for how we can live together as one. In truth, in equality, in true equity, sharing the good of this nation and this world, taking good care of each other as well as ourselves and the planet. Where there is a power greater than we are, yet right where we are, that fashioned all of this from within itself to start with. And for such a time as this that we come into this remarkable year of enormous change. A spirit of gratitude fills me as I think how privileged I am, and all of us are, to be here at this time. Not simply to bear witness, but to take part. For this note, peace that passes all understanding in the hearts of each one of us. I am so supremely grateful. I release this word now into universal law. Receives it and acts upon it and brings it to pass. With that, I just let it be, and so it is. Yeah, we miss Danielle though.
We miss Danielle.
If you like, you can take your gift in hand and let's say together now, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is.
I think Jeffrey was having a little fun with Melody and Kenzie there. That was a lot of fun. This is one of the reasons why we are so grateful that we can broadcast this live so that they can do things like that. So Jeffrey can mess with them and they can roll on with it. All right. Yes, Mel and Kenzie, the ultimate mother-daughter duo. We are so grateful for you. You have no idea. So we're going to tell you every single time. All right. Well, I invited you into the sacred space. And now I'm going to call an end to this service, but not an end to the sacred space. Because the truth is, the sacred space is always around you. You carry it within you. It is always around you. It's about opening your heart and your eyes and your mind and seeing it. So in this, I am knowing that there is one power, one presence, one life, one love. And that each and every one of us are a part of that love. It flows in us, through us, and around us. And so right now we are wrapping Daniel's family in that love. As they move through this transition, knowing that their father has moved back into that love in a different way. So we know for them peace and comfort in knowing that he will always be a part of them, that they will always carry him within their hearts, just as we carry her and her family now in our hearts. And so I'm knowing this love for each and every one of you, and whatever it is that you need this love for, know that it is coming from an inexhaustible source, and that it is always flowing in you and flowing through you. And as it flows through you, it flows out into the world to do all those amazing things that love can do. And so I'm so grateful to know this love, to be this love, to feel this love. And I'm grateful for you, for the expression of love that you are, for the expression of spirit that you are. And I challenge you to go out into the world and express that love in your own unique way. And I know that this is possible because it is. Because you are. And I release my word into law, knowing it is done even as I speak these words. And so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my
I
body.
feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my
I
mind.
feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I
I
am.
choose it.
I choose
I
it.
trust it.
I trust it.
I use it.
I use
And
it.
I love it.
And I love it.
So it is.
And so it is.
Just keep going.
I wasn't sure if he was coming up or something like that.